This is the plaintiff, Abraham. He says the defendant lost control of her menacing pit bull. The thing picked up his little dog in its ugly mouth and attempted to kill it. Luckily, his daughter got them apart, rushed him to the vet, and he eventually made a full recovery. Now the irresponsible defendant refuses to pay the $5,000 vet bill. So now he's suing her for $5,000, the cost of the vet and negligence. This is the defendant, Laura. She says the plaintiff's dog was on her property, and when her dog saw the little thing, he went into protection mode and lunged. Luckily, her dog was on a leash. There was no contact between the two dogs, and she has no idea how or why he's presenting her with a vet bill for over $2,000. Bottom line, the plaintiff and his dog trespassed, and she doesn't owe him a thing. She's accused of failing to control her dog.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says the defendant's pit bull almost killed his little dog, but the defendant says the plaintiff's dog was on the defendant's property and the pit went into protective mode. It's the case of your dogs, the pits.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, man.
Abraham, you are suing Lara for $5,000 in vet bills and negligence because, according to you, her dog got away from her and bit your dog. Now, as I understand it, you were not walking your dog at the time.
That's correct.
Who was walking the dog?
My daughter, Amy.
Come on up, Amy. Amy, how old are you?
15.
15. What happened?
I was walking my dog down the street. It was around 5 a.m. and it was around 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And out of the corner of my eye, as we were returning home, I noticed a pit bull running down the stairs. I didn't assume it was going to be this vicious because every dog I came across while walking Aiko wasn't hostile at all. They were all sweet and friendly and reacted positively. So it was a complete shock when the pit bull just lunged at Aiko, grabbed him by the jaws and shook him around.
Question. When that happens, where is the pit bull and where is Aiko?
They were both in front of the stairs.
Okay. Were they on the stairs or were they off the stairs?
Off the stairs.
Okay. And the stairs end where? On the sidewalk or on her property?
On the sidewalk.
Okay. So you're walking Aiko on the sidewalk.
Yes.
And her dog comes down. Your dog is on a leash? Her dog is on a leash?
Yes.
All right. And then what happens? Are they both on a leash and they're close to each other and then the attack happens?
Yes.
Okay. So she still was holding on to the leash when the attack happens?
Yes.
And then when the dogs go at it, what happens? What gets done? Who separates the dogs?
Aiko wasn't fighting back at all. He was just crying out in pain. And then eventually Laura pulled back her leash.
Okay. And now Aiko is what kind of a dog?
He's a Chihuahua Rat Terrier mix.
And your dog's name is?
Milo.
Milo. Milo is what kind of a dog?
He's a pit bull mix.
Can it ever just once not be a pit bull?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what do you say happened?
When I came out of my house, there's two stairways. When I came out of the first stairway, there's a landing.
Did you introduce a picture of it?
I do. I have pictures.
Okay, hold on one second. Okay. All right, so what am I looking at there?
That's the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
She was about probably where the greenery starts coming down.
Okay.
I was on the second step coming down.
Okay.
As soon as I stepped on the step, all I heard seen was a little black and a yip, and my dog lunged forward. When he lunged forward, I pulled him back. My leash has two handles on it. I was holding this side of the leash. I always hold both, because if I don't hold both, he'll be way in front of me.
Right.
So I always keep this leash. I've always had this leash. I had him like this. He was on this side of me. He was on the right.
So did he knock you over when he?
No, he lunged forward, and when he lunged forward, because the dog was right here at my feet now, because when he popped around the corner, he jumped up on the steps, and all I heard was the yip. As soon as he lunged forward, I pulled him back, and I fell. I didn't fall. I never let go of the leash. When he fell back, he flipped onto me, and then I pushed him. There's a gate there. I pulled him back, and I closed the gate, and I said, "Hello, hello." I looked. She pulled the dog and kept on walking.
She didn't stop to talk to you?
No, she never said a word to me.
Did you ever stop to talk to her or no?
No.
So are pit bulls generally just more aggressive animals.
A lot of times they're just bred that way. They're naturally aggressive. Their owners teach them to be mean.
So you think it's the owner, not the dog?
Most definitely.
You're nodding.
I think so. That you can't just label a dog evil just because of its breed.
I didn't say evil, but I said no. I said aggressive because we've just had our pit bull owners then by nature aggressive people.
Well, they say the owner is just like the dog, so if the owner is aggressive, the dog will be too. And I think they need to put their dog through training.
What kind of an owner owns a poodle then? I'm just curious. Going inside the courtroom.
Why didn't you say anything to her if her dog attacked yours like that? You didn't.
I was basically too shocked to say anything. The
Okay.
attack came out of nowhere. I didn't even notice the owner.
Well, you're turning a corner and you can't even see what's coming down the steps, right? Because of the way this is built,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
All I saw was a pit bull coming down. I just assumed they were going the opposite way. But before I could do or say anything, the pit bull launched himself at my dog.
Wait, but you couldn't even see the pit bull coming down because you're on the other side of all this greenery and all that tree, right? Like those bushes and stuff. This is the picture of her stairs going down, and there's a big stone thing up to here, and then there's greenery. So it would be, I would imagine it would be hard. Have you ever been? Have you been there since this?
Yes, I have my own picture as well. But the other thing also, it's kind of like when you're driving on the road and it says hidden driveway,
Yeah.
and you don't really see it, and then suddenly it's upon you. It's kind of the same situation.
I know. So what did I understand how this happened? I'm just wondering.
Your Honor, I never made it
Excuse
off.
me. Did
Oh,
I
I'm
breathe
sorry.
and give you the impression I was done speaking because I was in the middle of a sentence? I understand how this happened. What I'm asking you is how. Sometimes things are just one of those things, you know.
Yeah.
Why isn't this one of those things? What did she do wrong, other than own a pit bull? Because that's not illegal, at least not in your place. Go ahead.
No. Well, from what I understand, she just totally lost control and actually scraped her arm against the concrete banister that looks to be on the.
Right. She says that the way that happened is not that she lost control, but that she was trying to pull the
No,
dog.
she lost control. It's basically now one word against the other. Pit bulls are powerful. My daughter lost control of that little dog falling down the stairs because he was so anxious to go for a walk that she now busted up her knee and she's limping around and going to physical therapy. So it's one of those things, you know, when dogs pull out of nowhere, they'll surprise you and their strength is underestimated.
That's very true. Yes, I
have a
saw
picture.
her.
I don't know if you have my picture.
Yeah, let me see what you've got.
Sure.
I just.
Hand it to stay where you are and hand it to my bailiff, please.
May I speak?
Yeah.
I could confirm what he said. I saw her stumble down the stairs with a yelp, and then just the tag was on it. I just saw her stumble, and then I just saw the dog lunge himself at Aiko.
Your Honor, can you please look at the bottom right part of the photo?
Okay.
That could very well be dog urine because that dog doesn't go for walks. It just comes out of the house.
Okay.
Gets to the
First of all,
okay.
stop. I cannot look at a liquid and determine what liquid it is.
Sure, of course. Yes.
Okay. 1. 2, the fact that there is moisture on a ground would not indicate to me that a dog is urinating there. It could indicate any number of things. Okay, so no, I cannot. But if you have evidence of that dog going out without a leash, you should be videoing it and giving it to the authorities for sure, because that is very dangerous, particularly with this breed.
I actually had a neighbor that told me, as I was trying to catch the train the other day, the neighbor told me that she did see that dog walking around without a leash.
Great.
For a walk.
Is that neighbor here for me
No,
to
unfortunately, no,
cross-examine and
because-
ask questions of? Do you have an affidavit from that neighbor? Okay.
Unfortunately, because I was
All
trying
right,
to catch
because
the train.
then people could just come in and say, I have 400 witnesses who say X, you know?
course.
What were you trying to say before I stopped you from interrupting me?
I was saying that I never made it off my steps. I literally lunged back, fell back, and the dog flipped on top of me, and I literally pushed him behind the gate and closed the gate. He was secure behind the gate. I don't have a picture of the gate, but there is a gate on the second landing. I took pictures of the bruise that went straight across my leg from the step.
Can I just ask you something? You see how this is, right? Where if you're walking here, you can't see the steps. It's one of those hidden driveways, just like you, I mean, you said that very aptly. If I'm walking my dog and I have no idea that a foot and a half away from me, there's a lady who's coming down with a pit bull, how am I able to testify to the acts that occurred before the two dogs had contact? How would I ever be able to do that? The whole thing happens in a flash, you understand? So this idea that the dog got away from her and that this happened and that the other thing happened is kind of, you know, like the first thing that happens is, oh my gosh, my dog is getting attacked. And then the next thing that happens is you turn to the right and you see what is occurring. By then the attack has already happened. How would it be possible to cogently testify that, you know, she let go first and then this bite happened? The first thing that happens is the bite. That's how you notice that the hidden driveway was so dangerous. And if that's the case, then how is it, I mean, how's a dog, by the way?
Almost fully recovered.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Thanks.
I'll tell you, I do these cases all the time. And you know how when people are walking their dogs and then they see a complete stranger and a complete strange dog, and then they have their two dogs sniff each other and all the other stuff that people do?
Happens all the time.
I don't do that. I don't do that. I go in the other direction as soon as I have the double thing on my Labradoodle, and you know, and she's a big slobbery, like happy dog. I'm like, you are not going there, because I see this all the time. The animals are animals, and bad things can happen. Great things happen. They share a lot of love with us. They bring us a lot of joy, but sometimes bad things happen. Yes. And I just don't see, if you don't see this coming out of anywhere and it just happens. It just happens, and then you look. And I just don't know how you could testify that she lost control of her dog. It's almost impossible for you to do that. She testifies she didn't. And the whole thing happens in a flash. Just on these facts, I just can't do it. I cannot order her to pay you for any of it, because both dogs are on a leash, and there has to be testimony that I find believable that she let go of the dog. I know that it's a possibility that the dog got away from her, that it's a possibility that that dog got away from her when the two dogs are trying to be dogs. You know, I just can't, not with this corner like this that I'm looking at here, where people are unsuspecting and it's a hidden driveway. I cannot make a finding that, you know, in terms of these two testimonies, that I can conclude that it's more likely than not that she let go of her dog before it happened. I just can't. My verdict in this case is for the defendant. Good luck, folks. We're done. We're done.
You lost?
I think so.
So the plaintiff simply does not have the ammunition to convince the judge, and he fails to collect the $5,000 he was suing for. What can you do to prevent this from happening in the future? What do you think?
Just be luckier, I guess. I mean,
Is that it? Just be luckier?
I mean, we lost out on vet bills. I mean,
Yep, you did. You did.
Nothing you can do.
It was one of those unfortunate situations.
Yeah. All right. Well, despite
I
everything,
mean, the judge was in a pickle. She was, you know,
I understand.
you understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing I'd love to say is, despite what happened before and despite what just happened now, I'm always going to carry the message forward: love thy neighbor.
Okay.
So.
You're talking about her?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Everyone's decent.
Very good.
in my eyes.
Okay, all right. I get that.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. You must sign some documents on your way out.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Now here comes Laura, the defendant in this case. He doesn't seem totally mad at you, you know? I don't know. How do you feel
He had
about
no
this?
reason to be mad at me. I didn't do anything neglectful.
I have to ask you,
I
do you
would
ever
never
worry
let my
about
dog attack
walking
a
around with a
dog.
pit bull? Do you
Excuse
ever
me?
worry about walking around with a pit bull? with
Never.
yourself?
I've had pit
Never?
bulls all my life.
Really?
Not even one. Always two at a time, and I always will.
Really?
Always.
If you knew how many pit bull cases we see in this court.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
you know?
sure. But it's not about the dog. It's about the owner, and I am
Right.
definitely a responsible owner.
Very good.
Thank
you
you.
very much. And that'll wrap it up for this case, Harvey.
Doug, it's simple. The plaintiff here has the burden of proof. If it's 50-50, the defendant wins. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.